the nightmare abyss of the piney woods of East Texas. The Random Horror Show. The best in commentary and reviews in horror, sci-fi, fantasy, cult classics, and the obscure from film, television shows, and literature. Join our horror hostess, Keisha Lacey, as she is scary, but random, horrific, but funny. Last but not least, she will chill you to the bone.
Hey everybody, this is Keisha Lacey with the Random Horror Show, coming straight out of the Iron Pine Curtain, better known as East Texas, and of course here at the Random Horror Show, where we commentate being silly and random with horror, science fiction, fantasy, cult classics, and the obscure in movies, television show, literature, and our guests. And guess what? I have my guest. If you are still wondering what the hell did she just review, which is Pornaggedon, guess what? My second time guest, and he is back on the show, author Matt Micheli. Yay! I don't have the clapping machine.
All right.
Well, Matt
This
Micheli,
audience.
welcome back to the Random Horror Show.
Thanks for having me. Happy to be here.
You're welcome. I'm happy that you're here too. But we're gonna be discussing about your newest novel, which really just really messed me up, and I had to like go and gonna go read a Bible and everything. Almost turned me into a Christian, knowing good and well. But it made me think a lot. But I really enjoyed this book. Very fun. Oh my gosh, everything what you just wrote in it, I was just like totally, literally snatched. We're talking about Pornaggedon. So
That's a good term.
it is. It's a really, really good term. So Pornaggedon, can you just tell us about Pornaggedon just in small doses?
Well, if you can get from the title, Pornaggedon, it involves the porn industry. It's basically a battle of good and evil, like you've never seen. There's a cast of some quirky, flawed people. But yeah, basically Satan is going to use pornography because of its reach to try and take over the world. Hence the title Pornaggedon. But yeah, bloody, sexual, juicy, all that good stuff. But yeah, definitely a wild ride.
Ooh, you talking about a wild ride because child, when I was sitting there reading it, and I'm gonna say it like this, the description was on point of how you describe some of the scenes that was taking place in this book. And me, as you know, I used to work in an adult film store, and I done
A little
seen
close
every
to
type
home,
of
huh?
literature. Oh yeah, it was a little close to home. I've seen every type of literature, every type of movie, everything else. And I swear on crib, your descriptions are way better than Penthouse Forum letters.
Oh, well, that's awesome. Never read the Penthouse Forum letters, but if they need a new writer, I can fill that gap for them. I take some freelance work.
I read a lot of erotic literature, and yes, I do read a lot of Penthouse Forums and stuff because I was like, oh, I'm not interested in the images, but I like to read the stories that
Sure.
people write in or whatever. But just I was just like, how does he know about this?
Let's just say lucky guess. I have no.
It wasn't corny. It wasn't generic. I was just like, wait a minute. I'm scratching my head. I was like, I have some questions for him. Because
Well,
it was
it
like,
made you
this
think
sounds
that
a
that
little
is
too
good.
real. Yeah, it's a little bit, it was way, way too real. Trust me. I was like, okay, whatever,
Yeah,
but
a
we
lot of
gonna leave
folks
that alone.
some folks were like, I didn't know if it was going to be too sexual because it starts out pretty hard and fast, right? No pun
Yeah,
intended.
it does.
So you kind of wham bam, thank you, man, right at the beginning, and it's like, whoa, what is this I'm reading here? But then it kind of goes from there. But I did want to start it fast, and that's why I did that. I thought that first line was great, just to get people going, like, oh my gosh. Um, but but yeah, a lot of folks, when you start out, you're like, I don't know what I'm reading here. I should read this alone. I should read this when my children are not home. But story comes along. There's more to it.
It
Just
is.
stick with it. There's more to it.
It is. There's a lot to it. It's a lot to it. But you just blending like horror, religion, pornography, splatterpunk, and gore with this story in the twisted mind of Matt Micheli. How the hell did you do this? What was the whole
Um,
fucking process behind this? Oh my gosh.
yeah, I've had a lot of people say, like, I've never seen two so opposite themes brought together in such a way. But it really, I mean, it makes sense if you really think about it. So I had the idea. Porn has such a large reach, um, and I don't know. You never know where ideas come from. You just they kind of land on you, and you either take them or you don't. And one day, this idea landed on me: porn, but in a battle of good and evil, and the devil using porn um, to build his army. And I kind of pitched the idea to a friend or two that way in the beginning. I think I was at Texas Author Con last year.
Hmm.
I came up with the idea, and somebody that I respect that's in the writing world, I pitched the idea. It was a half-ass idea at that point because I didn't really know how it was going to end or anything. But he was like, "That sounds really cool. I think you're onto something here." And then it kind of just went from there. But I mean, yeah, the battle of good and evil. It's there are a lot of things that are good. There's a lot of things that could be considered evil. So there's a lot of options, to work with.
Right.
But yeah, again, porn just with the reach. And if you were married to me, you would know my almost hatred for technology, and yet we're on technology right now, and we need it and we use it. But when I see people just scrolling, especially children and stuff, it drives me bananas. And I know that's on me. I've got to just not let it bother me. Um, but we've got a dopamine button in our hand that we just constantly can press over and over. It's terrible for our brains and our lives. But then when you make it to where you can watch pornography, you've got that button, that dopamine is 10 times, tenfold. Um, so it's just one of those things. I was like, this is a good catalyst, I guess, for the Armageddon or Pornaggedon. Like I could see
Yeah.
the devil really using. Well, and not only that, but I mean, what's more powerful than sex? I mean, if you really get down to the bottom of everything, like what's more powerful than sex is not a whole lot. Um, so if you can kind of control sex and control desire and control pornography that has a reach of millions upon millions of people globally,
Hmm.
then yeah, you could really do something with that if if that gets into the wrong hands, which in this book it does.
Yeah. It really does. It really does. So speaking on about pornography and religion, um, which is like pretty much like in this book. And I also said it in my review of Pornaggedon, is that I feel that when people look at pornography and religion, it's like polar opposites of each other. But when you dig deep, 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 it's almost comes together because you see how people have this obsession, with pornography as well as with religion. You have your religious zealots, and then you have like people that's like into like pornography. And guess what? It just is very detrimental. It can mess you up really bad.
Sure.
And do you like feel that like because that you have like these two themes that's running in this book that they can be an obsession, that it can fall into the wrong hands and that people can misuse it and everything else, especially of how things are going on in the current, world and society, and especially with technology?
I mean, yeah, I guess anything in the wrong hands can be used for bad. Um,
Hmm.
I've always been in the middle of the road with religion. I've grown up a skeptic. Um,
Hmm.
I read the entire Bible when I was young, and that kind of made me a
Same
non-believer.
here. Yeah,
Uh,
same here.
and I've lost a lot of that, but I still can recollect some things from the Bible. My wife's gotten more religious lately. You know, I think scientists are wrong most of the time, and I think religious people are wrong most of the time, and I think both sides are wrong most of the time. Right? But I try to look at, I don't know. I'm in the middle of the road. I'm not anti-porn. I'm not anti-religion either. Like, I
Yeah.
guess you can always find value there. Um, like with the new law in Texas, like that's, I'm kind of indifferent on it. I can understand why people don't want to give their identity away when they're watching something
Right.
scandalous. But I can also
Right.
see how verifying age will keep minors and stuff from being on there because we know that happens. That's a fact. So will it protect some people or at least make it harder for people to find that stuff? Yeah. So so whatever with it. But yeah, in the book, I'm kind of in the middle, and I didn't want to really lead anybody a certain way, and I think that's why folks were saying you're going to make people think. Um,
Yeah.
just kind of did what I felt the characters and what the story kind of went for. But but yeah, I guess as I've gotten older, I'm still kind of in that mode of spirituality where or I tell people like, religious folks, most of them have had a moment that made them become religious. And I just say, I haven't had that moment yet, but I'm open to it.
Yeah.
Which yeah, I kind of pride myself on trying to be open to most things or open to the thought of being wrong. Like, okay, I have to go into a conversation with whatever opinion I have and just assume or just think that I could possibly be wrong with what I'm saying, and that helps you kind of be more open to different things. Um, but yeah, I think everybody right now is kind of confused spiritually,
Hmm.
confused, just society in general. Um, and I guess that's where I kind of see value in religion that I might not have seen before.
Yeah.
Uh, and I've had people tell me, well, I need religion or otherwise I would act out. And I'm like, okay, see, I always separated morals and religion. Those were two separate things for me, but not everybody can do that. And I understand that, but, not to ramble on, but yeah, I'm in the middle of the road. Not anti-porn, I'm not anti-religion. Obviously, if I were thinking one was good and one was bad, I'd probably put porn on the bad side. But I mean, lust and sex and all that stuff. But but to each
Yeah.
his own, whatever.
Yeah. I mean, that new law that,
Yeah.
because yeah, I get it because I have a 17-year-old, was going to be 17 years old
Oh.
son, and and I just like, oh my god, I had to give them the talk, and I did that, and he's like, Mom, I already know that, and I'm just like, but
Them videos, mom.
still,
Yeah.
But still, bro, and I'm just like, you gotta be careful with that. Don't watch porn because that's very detrimental. Even though I used to work in, you know, in that, and then before you was ever thought of, I say, but I had to put food on the table, and all of that, and
No,
then I
it's
was
bad for
born.
your brain if you get addicted to it. It absolutely is.
Yeah, it is. It's very like you get addicted to it, and then of course, you have from my like experience that you had
Mm.
some guys that was like so addicted to it that they thought that that's realistic and that's how it's supposed to be,
Oh yeah, no.
and I'm just like,
Expectations on both sides
no.
are way out there.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
expectations, like
Yeah.
the false expectations of it, and
Yeah. Not
Lord have mercy.
not all guys are 9 inches, and not all girls are going to do that.
Exactly.
Most won't. Most
Like,
aren't, and most won't.
right. And so, it's and like I said, like I feel that like yeah, it's everybody, who likes to watch that, that's cool and everything, this
Yeah.
you. But, don't come to me with all that cuckoo bird shit and everything, thinking I'm supposed to be all like that. I was like, I'll be like, you need to get the fuck away from me. But, I don't want that, for my son to, if he like say
No.
like if hypothetically and then he goes out and thinks like that, I'm just like, bro, you're gonna be in a sad case and everything.
No.
You're gonna, and it's gonna mess you up. It's gonna mess you mentally.
Yeah,
So,
and unfortunately, men get lazy if they can just
hmm,
watch a lady on their phone and take care of business. I mean,
right.
it's science, it's fact. Like, if you do that all day, then you're less likely to be ambitious and go out and not only succeed, because men typically will try to succeed because subconsciously it's going to help them find mates. It's,
Right,
so when you're
right.
just doing the pornography thing, you kind of become just content and lazy, and you could sit at home in your parents' basement for the rest of your life and play video games because you're sexually satisfied. But I don't know. Just
I don't
I
know.
guess anything. Again, I'm not anti-porn at all by any means.
Right,
But I guess moral of the story is anything in excess can be detrimental, right? So
it, right.
watch your habits and just control it. But who the
Yeah,
fuck am
exactly.
I?
Moderation,
Yeah.
moderation, and plus, it really is low vibrational, and those people are acting. There's a lot to
Oh yeah.
it. When people read your book, there's a lot to that. It's
Yeah.
not just them just boom. It's a lot in that industry that they have to do to other, to perform, which is like
Like
my
fluffers.
next question. Yeah. Which is like my next question, is that like, or is one of your characters in the in the book who
Okay.
happens to be a certain ethnic demographic of
Okay.
like, that has like the myth of, of having the magic stick.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
it also opens up like with this character of how when you read about this character that how porn industry does dehumanize certain people, you know, uh,
Yeah.
everybody, how it has a dehumanization, but you
Sure.
actually humanize this, this character, in your book. And though I was just like, what? And I knew you said you just really wasn't just like trying to really write deep about it, but I seen something very deep and something, I don't know if you've seen it or not or you noticed it, but because of that, like the whole, Mandingo, fetishizing, and all that right there. Yeah, I
Well,
showed it said Mandingo,
uh,
Mandingo party.
yeah.
you know, because this certain character has this magic stick, and and of course I was
It's
like,
not all it's cracked up to be, right?
it's
Like
not all it's
every man
cracked up.
fantasizes. Not every man. I don't want to make a blanket statement, but men all think they want this massive member, and then it's like this guy lives with it, and he feels his only outlet is pornography, and he's exploited and looked at like just like a massive dong. Nobody sees him as a person. So yeah, it's a complex situation. But yeah, Mandingo.
Man, I should have said a mandingo.
But yeah, you imagine a guy like this with what the book says, 11 inches, right? And it's like you can't have a normal relationship. It's a very select group of ladies that's going to, truly be able to tame that thing,
Yeah, for
and then,
real.
and then getting sucked into the life of pornography, and then you try to tell a nice girl that you're a porn star, she's probably going to run from you too. So yeah, the complexities of that character he really developed on that last. So I had that live launch party before this, and that was one of the host's favorite characters because she was like, he was so deep. She's like, I kind of was falling for this guy by the end of this book, like, and I was like, that's really cool. But yeah, it's not cracked up. That's not all it's cracked up to be, fellas. You don't want 11
I
inches, 12
know.
foot long. Yeah, good luck.
You had a very interesting moniker for him.
Oh yeah.
And I was just like, really? And I was like, the only two that I know of that moniker, which is Lexington Steele and Mr. Marcus.
Oh, do they actually use that moniker? I made this up, but that was, yeah, it's the character's like one of these fellas,
Just juking guts and hearts and everything else, and especially Lexington Steele, because I was wondering, like, I've seen, Lexington. He was very popular, like in the 2000s, and so was Mr. Marcus.
Yeah,
But
everybody. I mean,
yeah,
anybody that
like
knows
Lexington
porn knows Lex
Steele.
Steel. Yeah.
Yeah, and I seen him. I was like, I said that motherfucker. I said that motherfucker run. And I was at work when I was working at the adult film store, and I was like, that motherfucker run. And they just died laughing, but I just edited what I really said. But I will
Yeah.
tell you later actually what I said
Yeah.
about him. But like they just died laughing. And I was like, oh shit, I said that a little bit too out loud. But yeah, I was just like, who wants that? I was like,
Right.
ladies like the medium soft ones. We like the medium soft ones.
Well, you know who
We like
wants that?
the
There's
medium.
Shayla wanted that.
Oh my gosh, Shayla got on my nerves. She really, like, she got on my nerves. And I was
You're
like,
like,
I
I
know
know
too
girls
many
like
women
this.
like her. I know too many women like her. And I
Yeah.
was like, she's so typical.
Yeah. Yeah.
We make fun of them. Everybody does.
That's what writing the book from these different perspectives. So I titled each chapter after the character that the chapter was based on, kind of like how the
Mhm.
Bible does. It's like kind of like the disciples or something, right? Somewhat.
Right.
But people were like, it was great to read. You have this character talking about something, and then you have the next character, and they describe the situation completely different. I'm like, oh yeah. It's like, well, when you get to Shayla, she's got a skewed perception of reality, or it's almost like she's trying to convince herself that she is a certain way, and she's
Right.
not, or she's trying to convince herself that people view her a certain way and they don't. It's almost like she doesn't believe it. She doesn't even believe it herself.
Yeah.
But as that character comes along, you realize she's obviously had a rough upbringing and life, and that's why she is who she is. But yeah, yeah, the moniker for D I was like, okay, chapter 1, the fluffer, chapter 2, and I won't even say the moniker. They can read the book. But it's like,
You need to read the book to understand it.
but yeah, I had all the characters in there.
You did.
Surprisingly, Benny has been real popular. The Benjamin,
Hmm.
the character that lives at home with his folks,
Yes.
that character has been very popular, and I think people feel bad for him when it's all said and done. But yeah, I've had a few
I
people
didn't.
go, "He's my favorite character," and I was like, "Wow, okay,
I didn't feel
cool."
bad for him.
No, no,
No.
I felt happy, I guess, for him. Like he kind of, well, I don't want to get no spoilers, but
Right.
he
I
had
was
such
pretty
a
used to
shitty,
it.
he had the skin dandruff and the
Yeah.
micro
I mean,
penis, balding, and the birthmark on his face. The guy just, he's his whole life is just, and he's socially awkward, which didn't help. So his physical appearance wasn't great, and he had the insecurities where he couldn't really date women. It's all this stuff.
I
But
mean, I think like if he would have at least tried,
he would have been okay. Yeah,
he would have been
yeah,
okay. He would have
he would have been
found
okay.
somebody because hell, if you ever watch like My 600 Pound Life and they
Yeah,
be having like boyfriends and girlfriends, and I was just like, y'all are like 700 pounds and y'all are morbidly obese and
yeah.
you're about you're on death's door and y'all gotta I'm like, bitch, where the fuck you find him? I'm fucking single. You got somebody right there. Maybe I need to become 600 fucking
Yeah, I can
pounds.
get on that damn show.
My God.
You're a good man.
But like I feel like despite his physical appearance, he could have pulled somebody. I know. I
He
mean,
could have, but you got to think though, when people view themselves a certain way, they're not going to put themselves out there either. You know what I mean?
that's
So it was
true.
he kind of just let that fester, and just kind of
Yeah.
almost, what is it, like a kind of like an echo chamber of sorts. Like he kind of built himself his life, and then he just stayed within that and wouldn't leave it, and he was angry and resentful, and then throw in porn and he's sexually satisfied. So why
That's
is
a lot
so,
of
and I
people
think
went
he
to
even,
high school with.
yeah, you get some of that stuff too. You get some of that stuff too as the book goes on, a little more backstory. uh
Right,
but
right.
yeah, he's kind of had that mentality. He thinks everybody's dumb, but he's very hateful because he's hates himself. uh
Mhm.
Thinks everybody's dumb, and then he's like, why the hell would I date a woman when I can just use this little computer screen, get what I need. But anyway,
It's
not to give
like
anything away, but yeah, Benjamin and D, I think out of the characters, those two have gotten the most love. And see,
yeah.
I kind of liked Roy, because Roy's he's probably the might be the main character of the whole damn thing, but he's also kind of mysterious. There's not a whole lot about him, you know.
It really, Roy was very interesting. And of course, the other character, which
Brother
these are like
Michael.
unlikely, yeah, Michael, these are like unlikely heroes
Oh
in
yeah,
this.
that was the idea. Everybody's flawed, and then you got to see what side you're on. Yeah, Brother Michael that was a really fun character. I knew who he was um, when I started writing. Um, I had that character, and of course,
Right.
the story changes and the more characters come into play and everything. Um, but yeah, Brother Michael was cool. Another troubled individual, but trying to be the best human being he could be, and for him it was following the Lord and doing the church thing, and
The Lord.
yeah, the Lord.
Amen.
And he really looked up to the pastor that he worked with, and,
Right.
But yeah,
he was.
they all had
I
redeeming qualities. They were all flawed, but they all had redeeming qualities, which was really cool. But
I like Michael, because I'm like, bro, I feel you on that. I really do because not to give it away, but he didn't come from the best, and then all of this happens, and so he's struggling with a lot of things. And I was like, yo, I feel you on that because he was
yeah,
different. So, and I'm just like, like when I was just reading it, it felt like The Stand. It
I've
did.
heard that a lot. I've heard that a lot, and I think like I didn't really have the stand in mind uh, when I was writing it. But I mean, how many? I don't really know of that many good and evil, good versus evil books. And also, I was thinking about you can't have perfect heroes, like they've got to be flawed. And I
Right.
think Stephen King did that in The Stand, like the whole group of people. It was a bunch of flawed. Um, so it's awesome to get that comparison. Um, and yeah, once I got the first time I heard that, I was like, kind of is like that, yeah. But it wasn't.
Yeah.
There wasn't intent, and I wasn't really, you know. I've never read The Stand because it's too big.
I
I've
read The
seen.
Stand when I was in seventh grade.
Yeah, I've tried. I can't get. I I love Stephen King's short stories, and I've watched all the movies, but I can't get through his novels because they're way too, way too long for me. As you can tell by
Really?
my books, what is this? This is the longest book I have. What is it? 170 pages,
But
right?
I like that you do write, like you get down straight to the point without like leaving anything out of it. And that's
Yeah,
why I like those like
yeah.
about you. It's like different styles of people that I can read. Like I read The Stand when I was in, I don't know how my attention span was when I was 13
I
and
mean,
I
that's a
read
hell of
the
an
whole
accomplishment.
Stand.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Oh,
Uh,
oh, oh yeah, and I read it too.
and that's a big. Oh, that's even bigger, right? Yeah,
Mhm.
I own them. I own the books. But I'll try to dive into it, and then I'm like, I just can't get through it. Not that it's bad writing. It's just too much. It's too daunting for me.
Yeah.
But part of that is with traditional publishers, and especially publishers back then. It was like the book had to be huge to sell.
Right.
Like they
Right.
wouldn't even look at a novella. Like you're out of your damn mind. If this thing ain't 4, 5, 600, 700 pages, you ain't like we're not going to make any money. Nobody's going to buy it. So I think a lot of that's changed. And I don't know if that's a good thing or bad thing. I think our attention spans have shortened with
They
technology and
really
stuff.
have because of
So now,
technology.
for me, I'm like short books.
Yeah, because of technology, our attention
Yeah.
spans have gotten shorter. And also, just to say about and everything else, it could be matter of opinion or whatever, is that I noticed that like the decline of like human intelligence because of technology being so advanced that we can't even keep up.
Well, so there are new studies that have come out. So short videos, so TikTok and Reels, all that stuff,
Hmm.
uh, lower your IQ. So children that watch this stuff, they'll be 50% more likely to have depression and anxiety. They'll have ADHD. They won't be able to study because their attention span is going to be too short. Lower IQs. They said this will be the first generation that has a lower IQ than their parents, all because of short videos and this technology. So that's fucking scary.
It is
And when
scary.
I see little kids just scrolling, and we're all guilty of it from time to time. But when I see like little children just sitting there going, and their parents are just, I'm like, you're killing your kid's brain, like literally. Like this is known to cause these things. Your kid's gonna have depression. Your kid's gonna have a lower IQ. They're gonna have a hard fucking time if you don't monitor this. Um,
Right.
again, if you ask my wife, I talk about this shit every day. Like I'm so anti-tech, yet we're using tech, right? There's value to it, right? But I'm so against just allowing it to fill our time. Like we've got to get away from that, and it's
Yeah.
addictive, like porn or anything else. I guess it's just but it is truly damaging and dangerous, especially for children.
It
But yeah,
really is.
it's called TikTok brain. That's an actual term that they've deemed. Like, this is now the studies are out. Like, yeah, this is killing your kids' brains, allowing, especially like with children. I believe it's up to the age of 7. It's either
Mhm,
7 or 9 is when their neurons and the pathways are created, and
mhm.
this is when their personalities are formed. Like, if you don't give them your absolute best through those ages, then their personalities are set and they're going to struggle. Like, no matter what you do, right? It's like you've created this person. Those were the primary years that you should have really, you know, stepped in and done some things with them. Um,
Right.
but yeah, and not to go off on that tangent, but yeah, I'm so anti-tech, yet I use tech. We need it. I wish we didn't need it. I guess I hate that term, right? But there's value to it. There's, Facebook. I've come across friends from junior high and middle school, and it's awesome. I get to see my friends' kids, and I get to see other authors doing cool things, and readers and reviewers, and interact and all that stuff. And then Instagram, I get to see girls with asses sticking out all the time. No, I'm just kidding. I do. I tell you, eh, I
Booty on point.
I will
Booty
not
on point.
go in, but not interested on every damn one, and it doesn't matter what day it is. I'm gonna get some more suggested, and I'm like, I don't care if that's going viral. I don't want to see another girl dancing for the life of me. Good God, it's so damn annoying. And I'm like,
It
yeah,
is
she's cute, but seeing a cute girl dancing to a camera, that's about the worst thing I can just picture, right? So I'm like, I don't want to ever see that. Just stop. Like, come on, do something else. But yeah, but again, there's value. And right now, especially indie horror and the indie writing community. I mean, you know, 10, 15 years ago, when I had my first book published, which I won't bring up because it's a train wreck, before I left writing and I came back in, obviously. But there was no social media. There was no social
yeah.
media stuff back then to really promote. There were no indie horror communities or books of horror or any of these places. There was no random horse show. There was nothing. So you just hope that somebody stumbles upon it and somehow you start selling. I mean, that was your marketing plan.
Right.
Hope and prayers. So again,
I hope you discover
yeah,
me.
technology, it has its value, and I enjoy it for what it is. But good God, we've got to stop letting it consume our entire lives.
Right, right,
Just put that phone down and
right,
be present.
right.
You know, but
Yeah, I'm like a technophobe myself, and I'm not really too much like on social media because I'm just like ah. And plus, I got another position because I'm gonna be a future flight attendant.
that's
So guess
right.
what?
Yeah,
I go to
congrats, by the way.
training. I'm not gonna be on social media because guess what? I'm gonna be studying a lot.
You
So
do it's real shit.
this is the real deal shit.
Yeah,
So I mean, I'm not even like worried about it. I'm like, but it's really good that we have it. Just having connections like this, just me and you talking about your Pornaggedon and all your other books and stuff, and then of course everything else. But sheesh, like I love that human connections and stuff, like face to
yeah.
face human connections. That's like something that I fucking miss. And the
Organic and
one,
authentic connections, right? Like, you know, um,
yeah,
it,
because
it
people be
is what
playing
it
too
is.
much on the damn internet and social media. People play too much. I'm like,
But
why y'all
I think
play too much?
I think my problem is I'm in my 40s. I'm just getting grumpy. So
That's
I don't like
okay.
I
Like
don't like these kids with their TikToks. It's
you
like
sound like
old
me. Like
school. Yeah.
yeah, no, I had a TikTok and I deleted it. They're like, well, and there's people like around our age. They're like,
I
well, I'm on TikTok. Well, I'm on fuck
do.
TikTok. I done deleted my
I,
shit 2 years ago.
I downloaded it twice. And I
Hmm.
canceled it twice fast. That is the most invasive, like intrusive. Like, you turn it on and music starts blaring and there's some video that you don't ever want to see in your life. and you just, it's like, oh my
Yes.
God, what is this? And I'm clicking as fast as I can to get out of there. And I know TikTok has value. I know it's gone, certain authors and stuff have gone viral on TikTok, and they've become big selling authors because of TikTok alone. And I get that.
Right.
But I'm just like, it is just not for me. I would love somebody on TikTok to share videos about my books, and that'd be awesome. And hey, thank you so much. But the app itself, not for me. I'm good with it.
Yeah, that app ain't shit for me, though.
Yeah.
I was just like, this shit ain't shit. I can't. I was like, I can't do it. And then of course I'm like, I'm too lazy. I
Yeah.
try to do like the whole thing, the creating videos, and I'm just like,
Oh God, you got to have a lot of time to do it.
tired. I'm like, I'm so tired. This is tiring. So
I know.
tired.
Yeah, I know some folks that are really active on social media, and man, they're good at the videos and stuff. I just don't have it in me. I just don't have the time. I mean, hey, I'm all about it. I like their stuff and everything. I'm like, dude, that's awesome. But I just don't have the time. That's like another job, in my opinion. But,
Mhm. It really is.
yeah,
It really is. Even this is what I'm doing is like another job.
yeah, especially dealing with us asshole, high maintenance authors,
Ah!
blowhards, especially horror authors. Good grief, I
So
can only imagine.
silly.
Yeah. I
You're
can only
so
imagine.
silly.
Oh gosh, like shit, I gotta talk to Matt today. Son of a bitch. Stress, no sleep last night, worried about it. Golly. Oh
You
well.
are a hot mess.
I hope it was worth it.
It is. Oh my God. Well, I'm about to close it right
Yeah.
now, but like let everybody know where they can find porn and getting. I said getting porn again. Porn. Fuck it. You
Porn
that
getting.
porn shit with that porn shit that be fighting good and evil.
That's a good and evil like you never seen. Pornaggedon, where books are sold, Amazon. It's on Kindle Unlimited too. So KU. So if you got that, it's free. Read it. You can learn about me on mattmicheli.com or on Instagram, Matt Micheli Author. I believe that's the same one on Facebook too, Matt Micheli Author, I believe. So connect. I'd love to connect. Shoot me an email. You can contact me from my website. I don't have a handler. It's just me. So I'll get your email and I'll respond or block it depending on content. So, but yeah, please grab the book, grab the other books. Support indie horror. We certainly appreciate it. We appreciate Keisha and the Random Horror Show for giving us a platform. She's holding up books too. I don't even know if that is that going to be live. Are we going to see this, or is it just
Like
audio?
no, everybody's gonna see this on YouTube, and
Oh,
it's gonna
good
be on the
God!
video.
I would have wore a better
Yeah,
shirt.
yeah. You better hold that book up.
There. Oh
You
yeah, you
better
don't have a
promote
copy
that.
of this yet. Oh, look at that. Oh boy. Oh boy.
Look at that.
Turn
And
the
look, and it
camera.
just purring.
And on the top, it's this is from Duncan Ralston. If y'all know that guy. It says, "Holy hell, it's rare to find splatterpunk with something to say these days, but this one says a lot." But yeah, and he actually mentioned in the blurb about, he said it's the splatter porn version of The Stand. And he goes, I don't know if he intended to write that, but he did a hell of a job in doing it. So it's funny that you brought up.
Damn, that's a huge compliment.
Oh man, well, yeah. Anytime I get compared to Stephen King, I don't know if you're a horror person, but Stephen King's very famous.
Who you telling?
Stephen King is a very popular horror writer. He's got a bright future. No, if I get compared
No,
to that
I
guy,
don't know. I don't know Stephen King because he's from
yes,
Bangor,
Stephen who?
Maine. Is it Stephen Hawkins?
Stephen Hawking. Hawking. Yes, it's different. HAW. That guy's a little different. Yeah, nice fellow too, though. Wrote some books too, Stephen Hawking. I've got a couple, but somewhere over there.
Cool.
Different genre though, totally different genre.
Oh.
So you're delirious because it's 10 o'clock at night. We've been podcasting for hours now. I have at least. I've been on
I
podcast at 6
mean,
o'clock.
like this is actually 2 hours and stuff, so
Ooh, boy.
I'm still sane.
You're losing me. I'm going. I'm going to be asleep
Yeah,
soon.
okay. Well, thank you so much, Matt. And everybody, please do go to Amazon and KU, Kindle Unlimited, and get porn again. Stephen King, that is just some porn and good, fight
Stephen
good
King
and
porn.
evil
Yeah.
and shit like that. It's some horror stuff, splatter punk, you name it,
All that.
good shit.
Lots of sex. Lots of fun.
Sexy, sexy,
Wild
sex.
ride.
Yep,
Oh,
doggy style.
that's it. Oh, boy. Oh, boy. All that.
Reverse cowgirl.
Oh, come on. What are you talking about?
Oh, I had to. You started it. You started the shit. All right.
No. With the book, yeah. No,
But that's the
Keisha.
book, okay? Everybody, the book.
No,
Don't get it
Keisha.
twisted, y'all.
Thanks for having me, Keisha, and thanks for
Thank you.
being out
And
there for the whole world, man. The show's fun. It always is. So I appreciate you giving us a platform.
no problem.
Yeah.
No problem. I show my love for everybody in the horror community. And again, my name is Keisha Lacey, and this is the Random Horror Show.